We will be recording this meeting so that if people who did not attend or could not attend will be able to see it. That'll be like the other videos that we've done so far.
Okay.
We've had a number of people that have joined. We'll be starting in a minute.
How long does the introductory video take?
I want to say it's maybe 3 or 4 minutes.
Okay.
Did you just mute? Hello?
Hello.
Oh, I just wanted to let you know I'm here, Janet Miller.
Okay, I get you recorded. Thanks, Janet.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm going to put we're going to start the video. So I'm going to put everybody on mute. Just give me a moment to set it up.
Howdy, folks. Join me to learn the story of this dynamic Georgia reef, a great place to live.
Coastal Conservation Association was founded in 1978 in Houston to restore the redfish population in the Gulf of Mexico. Its 140,000 members in 17 coastal states have gone on to achieve many conservation wins for the fish and their habitats. CCA Georgia, founded in 1986, now has 6 local chapters with 1,200 members. One of its areas of focus is marine habitat. It is well known that sunken ships are teeming with life, much like a natural seafloor. In 1991, construction began on the CCA JL artificial reef by sinking the tugboat Detroit. In years since, rubble from the old Talmadge Bridge, old bridge supports, the 100-foot tug Devon, several 100-foot barges, concrete culverts, and 20 New York subway cars have been added to the site. The reef is now home to thousands of species and teems with plant and animal life.
So, what's so special about artificial reefs? Well, you see all this life in them, plants, little sea squirts, small fish, big fish. Before this artificial reef was built, there was nothing here but sand and seawater. You see, hard surfaces are needed to allow an ocean ecosystem to develop. It can't happen on shifting sand. So creating homes for the plants and animals you see here are what reefs are all about.
You just saw one reef site, but working with the Georgia Department of Natural Resources and other partners, CCA has helped create 27 offshore reefs and 15 inshore reefs along Georgia's coast. That's a lot of habitat. In addition, working with our partners, CCA has helped restore oyster beds in 7 locations. Healthy oyster populations are critical to keeping coastal waters clean and to provide habitat for many marine species, especially juvenile. Habitat is just one part of the story. CCA also advocates for sustainable rules and regulations and conducts a robust public outreach and education program. But those stories are for another time. We would, however, like to share just a bit about the Marine Conservation License Plate, which CCA got the state legislature to approve in 2017. In just 2 years, sale of that license has yielded more than $300,000 for conservation. The first projects funded were the recent deployment of a 180-foot Menhaden fishing vessel at the JY Reef and an 82-foot shrimp trawler to augment the CCA JL Reef.
Folks, these things could only happen because people like you cared and supported the work of CCA. We thank you from the bottom of the ocean. And remember, there's lots more to do. You've helped and you can still help. Please make a difference. And for more information about our efforts, go to ccaga.org. You can also donate there.
Okay, Vic, you have control.
Good evening. This is Vic Vaccaro, and you're joining us for our third Zoom meeting for 2021. Tonight's an very interesting program that will, obviously you know what it's going to be about. It's going to be about the Kids Fishing Lagoon. Prior to starting the meeting, we have historically had a raffle prize. And for the last couple of months, we've offered a raffle prize for inshore fishing with different captains. This month's captain is Captain Jack McGowan. And hopefully every one of you have already received at least one ticket, and some of you may have taken the initiative and enhanced your probability of winning this trip by buying additional tickets. Anyway, 2 lucky winners will be selected at the end of this meeting. The value of this trip is $350. Tonight's agenda looks like what you're seeing in front of you. We'll start off with a brief discussion on fishing stories, talk about the lagoon guides, and then we'll bring on our primary speaker, Doug Painter, and he will address the Kids Fishing Lagoon. And that'll be followed by Frank Woods, who will give you an update on what's happening about fundraising. And then we'll ask the president of CCA Skidaway Island to wrap up the meeting for us. So let's get going. Fishing stories. Normally I say this is the audience time to share with us fish that you caught. Given that we're in a Zoom situation, we've kind of preempted that, and we have received some pictures of recently caught fish. And we have Mike Welsh, are you on the connected?
Yep, I am.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit about the fish on the left-hand side that your team caught?
Yeah, so in the upper left is about a 7, maybe 8-pound red snapper that was released after this picture was taken. The fisherman there who caught it is a recent addition to the landings. He moved in November, lives on Middlemarsh, and his name is Sophus Sanche. He's from Norway. The picture below that is Cliff Spiro with the 14-pound red snapper that he caught. These were caught at the snapper banks. At one point in time, over a period of about 5 minutes, we caught 6 red snapper.
Wow.
Total for the day was probably close to 15. We gave up counting. Obviously, they all have to be returned because they're an extinct fish. Well, all right. I've had my editorial.
Good. Thank you very much, Mike. And then you can see also that there are a couple of young men that have been very successful catching fish. The young man has caught a nice bass. It looks like a 5-pounder to me. And on the bottom right, we have Wade, who's was able to catch a tarpon. But Dave DeVore, are you on? Do you want to talk a little bit about the father and son team that caught the bass?
Actually, this is Jeff Harper. I can talk about that.
Good.
I thought it was apropos for this particular meeting because I was over at the kids fishing lagoon yesterday afternoon to do some recording, and these two were there, and neither one of them were, I would say, accomplished fishermen. Particularly the young son. He's just slapping the water with this wacky worm setup, and sure enough, he catches this bass, and he was so excited. So the kids lagoon is alive and well.
That's great. And you'll learn a lot. Obviously, you'll learn a lot more. We can say a lot more, but we're better off just waiting till we get there. Now, you've seen some of the fish that have been caught. And if you're interested in catching fish and enhance the probability of your success while at the lagoons, all the lagoons, we urge you to sign up for a lagoon guide. These guides are updated every year. So we're talking about a 2021 lagoon guide. And it obviously identifies freshwater and saltwater lagoons and gives you some fishing tips. It even goes into talking a little bit about inshore fishing and the equipment you may need to do that. And if you're interested, please contact Hal Evans at 912-777-6937. Okay. Bill, are you going to take over, or do you want me to introduce?
Sure, I can. I'll take over. No problem. So as we move forward, I'd like to introduce Doug Painter. Doug has been worked on a number of presentations as well as Paulette. Just give me a moment and then we can start the video. Doug, would you like to say a few words?
Absolutely. Thank you, Bill, and good afternoon, everyone. One of the things we've seen here at the landing in recent years is the number of families who've moved to the island, not just retired people. And you combine all these younger people with this tremendous renewed interest in fishing here on our island, we thought it would be a great idea to do a program specifically on the Kids Fishing Lagoon, both on tips on how to fish the lagoon, but also an overview of the number of programs Skidaway CCA is sponsoring at the lagoon and our outdoor education center, which is located on the shores of that great fishing hole. So Bill, anytime you're ready, we can roll the tape.
Okay, and just after we roll the tape, we'll open it up for a Q&A, questions, and provide answers. So if anybody has any thoughts, we'll walk you through how to do that. Okay.
On behalf of all the members of the Skidaway Island chapter of the Coastal Conservation Association, welcome to the landings.
Our island home is dotted with 151 lagoons, about half freshwater and half saltwater, that add to the natural beauty of our landscape, but also serve as important aquatic habitat for a wide range of native species, and, notably, an extraordinary array of bird life, from ospreys and eagle to a range of herons and egrets.
Volunteers from our local chapter annually monitor lagoon quality, water, and salinity, SANE selected lagoons to determine the health and growth of various fish species, and over the years have stocked more than 250,000 fish in our waters while adding structures that enhance underwater habitat.
Over the years, the Skidaway chapter of the CCA has worked closely with the Landings Association to help ensure that our lagoons continue as healthy and diverse wildlife and fisheries habitats, while also providing great fishing for Landings residents and their guests.
There are lagoons throughout the Landings property, so good fishing is never that far away. That's why we call it fishing a la carte.
When you head out, keep in mind that fishing access is from shorelines on common property. Fishing is not allowed from shorelines that abut our golf courses. Also, keep an eye out. There well may be alligators in both freshwater and saltwater lagoons. That's one big reason why wading, swimming, rafting, or boating is prohibited in all our lagoons.
Georgia fishing rules and regulations apply. You can go online to gooutdoorsgeorgia.com and follow the prompts for license information.
Today, we're going to take a closer look at our kids' fishing lagoon. Specifically, it's designated as Lagoon number 56 in our lagoon guide and is located behind the firehouse in Oak Ridge, near Crossover Bridge on West Cross at Log Landings Road. In 1995, our Skidaway CCA chapter and the Landings Association set aside this lagoon in Oak Ridge exclusively for young anglers, ages 3 to 15. And yes, it's fine for mom and dad or other adult family members to fish along with their children.
The Kids Lagoon encompasses some 3 acres and has become a real hotspot for bluegill. Regular stocking and an automated feeding system have made a big difference in bluegill size and numbers.
5 fish feeders were purchased and installed around the perimeter of the lagoon, thanks to generous donations from CCA members and the Landings residents. These feeders are programmed to release dry fish food pellets at 11:30 every morning. This is a fun time to visit the lagoon and watch the feeding frenzy begin.
Your best bet in terms of equipment is a lightweight or ultra-lightweight rod and reel combo, either with an open-face spinning reel or a spin cast reel, such as a Zebco. Line weight should be either 4 or 6 pound test. Light lines are especially important when the water is clear and during the winter months.
Live bait is the popular choice at the Kids Lagoon. Spring through fall, red wigglers, night crawlers, and crickets are generally available at Bandy's Bait Shop, located at the marina, which is on your left just after you cross the bridge leaving the island. Mealworms are available during the winter.
You can use the same rig for any of these baits. Slip on a bobber about 2 feet or so up from the hook, which should be size 6 to 10. Crimp on a split shot about 1 foot up from the hook.
When using live bait, you want to hook it in a way that keeps it alive for as long as possible to maximize its natural action in the water. With a cricket, hold it by its legs and then slide the hook under the cricket's shell-like collar, just behind its head, and back out.
With a red wiggler, don't run the hook shank up the body of the worm. Instead, hook the worm towards its head, then turn the hook towards the tail and hook again, and perhaps a 3rd time. You want the worm bunched up around the hook with a bit of the worm's tail left to wiggle below. If you leave too much of the worm dangling, the fish will likely just steal your bait.
With the much longer and thicker nightcrawler, you should cut off a short section that covers the hook with a little bit dangling. With mealworms or superworms, which look like bigger mealworms, hooking them once towards the middle is fine.
Bring along a pair of needle nose pliers to help remove the hook from the fish you catch. It's also a good idea to use the pliers to crimp down the barb on the hook. Without the barb, it will be much easier to unhook a fish that has swallowed the bait deeply.
Fishing tends to be best in the mornings and late afternoon. Also, pick the shady side of the lagoon to start. It's unfortunate that many of today's youngsters, especially from urban areas, don't get much opportunity to spend time outdoors and learn a lesson or two from Mother Nature. That's why your Skidaway chapter of the CCA is happy to bring a taste of the outdoors to Savannah area youngsters.
Beginning in the spring of each year, we sponsor a morning or afternoon of fishing with students from the Oglethorpe Charter School, the Bethesda Academy, and with youngsters who are enrolled in the summer program, Camp Rock. Rods, reels, and bait are provided for all participants along with CCA volunteers to lend a helping hand.
The Outdoor Education Center was built in 2017 thanks to donations from our CCA members and landing residents. As a result, the Castaway Club was born. The center encourages family outings and educational events for on-island youth. Our programs combine nature education along with family fishing opportunities. These are hands-on learning sessions that last about 40 minutes and are taught by local experts. To date, we've covered subjects including bats and bees, birds, turtles, and reptiles. Each event is followed by an hour of fishing instruction using equipment and bait provided by CCA. We look forward to relaunching this program later this year. Our big event, of course, is our Kids Fishing Derby, which is now scheduled to take place on the 29th of May. Annually, this event draws over 120 youngsters who typically catch over 300 bluegills. Along with the biggest fish caught all day and first fish landed, awards for the biggest fish and most fish are by age group, starting with those between 3 and 5 and up to the 12 and 15-year-old bracket.
With improved shoreline access, enhanced water quality, and a series of fish feeding stations, fishing at the Kids Lagoon has never been better. Keep in mind that Landing's residents and their children can head out to this honey hole at any time. Mother Nature's classroom is always open. Your local CCA chapter has put together and annually updates its popular lagoon guide, which includes maps with the location of each lagoon identified by a unique number. The guide also contains a variety of additional fishing information. The guide is available with a $10 donation to the CCA Fishing and Youth Development Fund. Please contact Hal Evans at the information you see on the screen. CCA is a national nonprofit association dedicated to ensuring the health and conservation of our marine resources and anglers' access to them. For more information on membership, please contact Pat Brooks at the phone number or email address on the screen. We hope you enjoy your time outdoors at one of our island's lagoons and that on your next cast, you catch the big one.
Great, thank you. So I was going to just really quickly, because I already have questions coming in, but if you want to submit a question and we'll respond to it, is to use the chat function within Zoom. So for many of you, if you're on a Windows-based environment, or you'll be able to kind of select chat, and then the messages will come to me. If you're in a Apple environment, again, when you look at your screen, you'll see the capability where it says more. Click on that, and it should open up to have a chat. So, put your information, type your information in, it'll come in, and then what I'll do is I'll read those out loud. And I'm just going to send out, just to help, you should just to send it out, and so everybody knows and gets a insight as to chatting. All right. So I'll start just reading through the questions, and clearly Doug or other members of the CCA board can jump in with their comments. The first one is, how do you determine the worm's head versus the other end?
Well, you will see a lighter section on the worm towards its head, and that's the collar. So that's it's also a little tougher. It's a good place to start the first hook right through that collar.
Great. Actually, this covers both the first and second questions. Are the freshwater fish edible? This question comes up from time to time.
There's nothing that would suggest they are not edible. I mean, the water quality testing here has always shown that theoretically you could eat these fish. I will say that the custom on the island is pretty much catch and release.
Great. Another question came in. How deep are the lagoons? Or in some cases, well, maybe it's how deep is the kids' lagoon?
Well, Jeff has done some good research on that, I think. But I think I remember him saying most of our lagoons are about 6 to 8 feet deep. So I would assume that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, Doug, that's correct. Most of them are 6 to 8 feet, and that's really in the very middle of the lagoon. As most anglers know, it does get really shallow and sometimes weedy as you get closer to the shore. So you just have to be sort of cognizant of that. I will tell you that Lagoon 105 and 106 next to Delagal, those are our deepest lagoons because they were originally supposed to be part of the harbor. And so they were dredged way back when. And they are up to 26 feet deep, but everything else is pretty much 12 feet.
Okay. Any more questions? I don't have any more in the queue at this moment, but we can wait a few minutes.
Bill, if I could just jump in one more time.
Sure.
On the kids' lagoon. I spent a lot of time there because I grew up fishing ponds like that, and that turned me on. And so to see all these kids getting down there and fishing is wonderful, and it's what we as CCA members are trying to promote. But I see kids getting frustrated because they first go to the little turnkey feeder where you can turn, it's like a gumball machine. You can turn the key and get a handful of fish food and you throw it out, and all the bluegills go crazy. And so they get all excited. And so when they throw their line out, they get nothing. It's because the fish are full. So anybody interested in actually fishing that lagoon should wait till after they finish fishing and then feed the fish because they'll have better luck.
Okay, great. One of the questions came in about how to get this video sent to people. What we do for all attendees and attendees to the last 3 meetings, we will send a link to basically upload both this video and the video of the meeting so they can access that. In addition, we'll be sending it this month as well to all existing members so they have the capability to get the link. So we are developing a number of videos that are being available to share. Again, and they're on YouTube, so it'll be easy to do. So watch for that within the next couple of days after the session. One of the questions came out around a given lagoon 105 and 106. Does anyone know if they're salt or fresh water?
Yeah, I can answer that. Again, this is Jeff Harper.
Yeah.
We just did salinity tests on both of those lagoons. 106, which is the bigger of the two, right next to Delagal, is a little high right now, so we would call that brackish. 105, which is right to the right or left, depending on how you're looking at the ocean. But if you're looking at the river, it's to the right. Is now at 0.2, which is very fishable and sustainable for fresh water. A lot of the rain that we had in early part of this year has helped, reduce the salinity, and we're doing other things to keep that promoted. So 106 is going to come back quickly.
Okay. Any additional questions? Okay. Why don't we move to the next item? Frank, I'm going to share the screen and we can walk through your slides.
All right, thanks, Bill. Before I start, every time I see the photos of the kids catching fish at the kids lagoon, I get a big smile on my face, especially if they've never caught one before. There's some looks of joy and some grimaces as well. I want to talk a little bit about our fundraising program because none of what you've seen so far is possible without donations. They're all voluntary. All of the sampling, the stocking, and maintenance of habitat structures and planting. And all of, Bill, next slide. And all of the, Yeah, I'd say also into the seminars, field trips, and excursions. I want to make a side comment here. The excursions this year, there are going to be 2 of them, and they're going to follow the seminar. So the seminar will be on a subject, and the excursion will be to that subject area. The kids fishing programs in Kids Lagoon requires constant maintenance and feeding, and the Castaway Club that started a couple of years ago has already been explained, and the fact that we include Oglethorpe School and Safe Shelter and Bethesda Academies. All of these are possible because of donations that have been made over the years. Last slide, Bill. Our goal this year is $20,000. So far, and we've got 1 week's worth of contributions. It's a little less than a third of that. And just a reminder that all the donations are tax deductible. All of our funds are spent locally. And if you'd like to donate, and I really would encourage you to, please make out a check to CCA Skidaway. I sent, if everybody, I hope all of you got a solicitation. I put a stamped self-addressed envelope in the primary envelope. And if you don't want to bother, you want to sit at your computer and do it, here are the instructions for using PayPal or credit card. And anybody that didn't get a letter requesting a donation, if you'll raise your hand, I'd be glad to send you one. I don't see any hands, so I guess it's over to you, Bill.
Great. Thanks, Frank. At this time, we turning it over to Dave. Are you out there and unmuted? Dave, you're not unmuted. Here we go. There you are.
Can you hear me? Great.
Can you hear now?
Okay. I want to thank everybody for joining our meeting. This is our 3rd virtual meeting, and it's a little unnatural going through this COVID situation we're in, but we've kind of got everything teed up and we're ready to go. We're ready. We have the rocket is on the launching pad. And what happens in March and April timeframe is the water starts to get warmer. And when it reaches 65, there's a saying in Savannah, all of fishing comes alive when the temperature reaches 65 in the water. And a lot of things are going to start biting, in particular bass. The bass start bedding in March and April, and they're very, very aggressive around there. So it's a great time for freshwater fishing. And when you fish for bass this time of year, you fish very close to the shoreline. I would say 5 to 15 feet offshore. And the female's defending its nest, and it will attack about anything that comes through there in a way of a lure. And the male stands off to the side, and it also is very aggressive. So it's great bass fishing right now. Another thing is, in addition to the fishing coming alive, I want you to give me the next slide, please. You take a look at our calendar here. Our calendar comes alive too. You can see the red items on our calendar. We're going bright red for Q2. There's a lot of activities, be it in addition to seminars. We're going to be having clinics. Right now, this week, the electrofishing is, the Lagoon Committee is conducting electrofishing in 30 of the freshwater lagoons. Fish stocking in April, we'll be putting 15 to 20,000 bait fish in the freshwater lagoons. It's quite exciting. And we'll have our first clinic on April 17th. It's going to be saltwater, and there'll be another one in May. So get out your fishing gear, get ready to go. And we're going to need, along with this, some volunteers. In particular, coming up on June 21st, on June 9th. Oh, let me catch my dates here. The kids fishing derby is on May 29th. May 29th, we need a lot of volunteers to work with the kids. Traditionally, we get about 125 kids at the Kids Fishing Lagoon, and they catch upwards of 500 to 600 fish. A little bit more on the Kids Fishing Lagoon. It's a 3-acre lagoon, and based on Roger Burge, he's in charge of our fishery management. He's the fellow we contract to do the electrofishing in that. The normal load for a 3-acre lagoon here would be about 3,000 fish, about 1,000 fish per acre. But due to the electric fish feeders we have down there, we've created an artificial environment. And he estimates there's over 10,000 fish in the area, in the Kids Fishing Lagoon. So that pretty much ensures a good time. So please consider volunteering. If we could see the next slide, please. Go back one, please. Okay, we'd like you to consider joining CCA. We need members. It's $35 a year. These are the primary areas we're involved in: conservation advocacy, fishery management, habitat and conservation, and education and public outreach. It's fishery management and education and outreach right now that we're focused on in the near months ahead. And we need volunteers for that to help us out. Next, please. Did you jump by the volunteer of the year? Is that the next one?
That's,
Okay.
okay.
Now, speaking of volunteers, once a year, we announce the volunteer of the year. We have a lot of volunteers that work very hard in different committees. And traditionally, it's someone who puts worms on hooks and gets involved in the lagoons. This year, we have 2 other members. One is a recent member, been with us about 2 to 3 years. Another one's been with us for a long time. And so what happens, we're all a bunch of used-to-be's. We used to do this, we used to do that. Well, so we got a couple of used-to-be's. We have one was a nuclear engineer. That's scary. And we got another who is an IBM consultant. We put these guys together, and what did we come up with? We came up with someone who was able to implement a CRM system so we can track and our volunteers and people and get feedback from our membership to see what their interest is. And this is very important. If you're going to run an organization, we need to cater to our members' interests. So the first winner of Volunteer of the Year for 2020 is, can you see this? I can't see me in the camera.
Rick, yes, we can see.
You can see that. So the first one we have here is Rick Cunningham. He was a nuclear engineer. And you see a picture there. He's terrorizing a young fisherman. He really doesn't want to be there. Help, Dad. Let me out of here. So that is our Volunteer of the Year #1. And then we mix him with an IBM IT product manager or project manager. And we get Bill Darsney. There he is with a couple of young ladies from Oglethorpe Charter School, teaching them how to fish. What do you think about that, Bill?
Thank you so much.
What's your wife going to say?
She's going to say, "Oh, you're spending more time with CCA."
Yeah, too much with these young fisher ladies.
Yeah,
Anyhow,
again,
guys,
I appreciate
congratulations. This is so important that our volunteer program, and whatever your interests are, I'm sure we can find something for you to do, or we might create some new interests for you. Now let's go on to the next one, if you would.
All right, Meg, here we go. Is that the right one?
Where are we going? Oh, our speaker next month is a classic. It's Sean Burgess, recently promoted to Public Works Director. Sean's been here for over 20 years. He knows the lagoons from inception. And they were a bunch of drainage ditches. And now they are some of the best bass fishing and redfish fishing in Southeast Georgia. And it didn't come easy. And Sean can give us all the secrets about the interconnection of the lagoons, what all's there, and a few interesting stories or funny stories that he's experienced in his 20 years with the Landings Association. Next slide, please. Okay, so 2 lucky people that have tickets, everybody on here has had tickets, have been chosen. I'm getting the information now. And for 2 seats for an inshore charter with Captain Jack McGowan. And Jack McGowan, he's been around here forever. And he'll be taking them fishing for trout and redfish. And the cost of this charter is $350. And let's see, so for your tickets, and everybody here has a ticket, the first one, the drawing is Rick Armstrong. Now, Rick Armstrong also is one of the two fellows, along with Ken Zeig, who maintains the Kids Lagoon. So we're very happy for Rick Armstrong. Thank you for buying tickets, Rick. And then the second one is, oh, this one's very suspicious. Very, very suspicious. Congratulations, Vic Vaccaro. And Vic has been a Volunteer of the Year previously. He has it probably hanging up in his entrance hall as you come in the door, and absolutely loves it, wanted to get another one. But so congratulations, Rick Armstrong and Vic Vaccaro, on winning this month's raffle. And next month's raffle, we're going to have another inshore charter with another inshore charter captain. So once again, thank you for your participation very much. And I hope to see you fishing, maybe in my backyard, maybe at the Kids Lagoon, who knows? But I look forward to talking with you next month and perhaps seeing you down at one of our fishing holes. Thanks, Bill.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Again, you watch for the email. We'll give you links and insight as to how to search and find both the video we shared today, both videos, as well as today's meeting.